The Jimmy Butler saga with the Miami Heat has seemingly come to a head with all the rumor that has been spread over the last few weeks, from his hairstyle changes to the fact that he sat out a couple of weeks due to illness, then was sitting out for reconditioning. Then he finally gets back on the floor a couple of days ago and he plays 25 minutes, does not play in the fourth quarter. And then the Heat get blown out yesterday by the Indiana Pacers, 128-115. And he gets interviewed in the post-game press conference and he's asked about his joy, if he can get that joy back down here in Miami. And the answer is probably not. Now, this situation has hit a head in which we, as Miami Heat fans, have seen this before. This has happened before. So maybe it's time we start looking at what the real problem is. It's not Jimmy Butler. And I will tell you what the problem is. Before we jump in, this is Rudy's Rant, Power Coming Now, the podcast. We talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. I have to say it, and I'm tired of people not acknowledging the reality. And it's something that I said quite some time ago. It's time for Pat Riley to go. This is on Pat Riley. Pat Riley thinks that he can rule with an iron fist. Newsflash, it's not 1985. You cannot rule with an iron fist in today's professional sports, especially in the NBA, where all of these guys are certifiable divas. Pat Riley did this with LeBron James. He did this with Shaq. He did this with Dwyane Wade. And now he's doing it again with Jimmy Butler. And this all stems back to last season in the playoffs when Jimmy Butler got hurt against the Sixers in the playing game. And then when the Heat were playing the Celtics, Jimmy Butler was talking a lot of trash while not playing. And Pat Riley told him to shut up. But he did it publicly. And this is where Pat Riley seems to understand the generation of, you cannot do that. He is your franchise player. You do not embarrass him or insult him publicly. You want to have that conversation to tell him to shut up, you do it privately. And you know what? You deal with it if he does it publicly. Who gives a crap? Because that's what he believes. It wasn't his fault that he got his leg run under by dude from the Sixers. I forgot his damn name. It wasn't his fault that happened. But I know people will say Jimmy Butler, misses lots of games. Last year, folks, if you recall, he missed a bunch of games, but we didn't know why. It was because his dad had died. His father had passed away, and he missed games, and he gets hit on for that. We never knew as fans because they never released it. See, that's another thing that the Miami Heat does. They don't release information. So when you don't release information like that, guess what happens? People start asking questions and wondering, why is the best player not playing so often, but he's not supposedly hurt? But this is another example of Pat Riley trying to be iron-fisted Pat and say things that insults his best players. The fact of the matter is, Jimmy Butler has needed help in Miami now for 3 years, and Pat Riley has failed him. He has failed as a GM, president, whatever the hell title he has, because I don't even care anymore. It's become a joke. Every year it's the same shit. He failed with Dame Lillard. He failed with Kevin Durant. He's failed and failed and failed. And then he lets go of Max Strus, who's now on Cleveland, and Cleveland has the best record in basketball. He let Gabe Vincent go. People might come back and say, oh, well, Gabe Vincent's been terrible with the Lakers. But with Miami, Gabe Vincent was not terrible. He fit our system. You let these guys go, and you did not replace them. Who did you replace Caleb Martin with? Nobody. Nobody. You tried to trade Tyler Hero for 3 years. You couldn't get it done. And you know what? That might be a blessing because Tyler Hero's been the Heat's best player this year. But Bam Adebayo should have been traded 3 years ago. Bam Adebayo has been the freaking player that that Pat Riley swears by. While Bam Adebayo's numbers have gone into the toilet While his ego's gotten bigger, his numbers have gone into the toilet. So you didn't get Jimmy Butler help. And yes, he has every reason to be frustrated because the man's been playing by himself. There is no team that has won a championship without a 1A or a legitimate 1B or a legitimate 2-level player. Not one outside of, I can't remember another team. Even with the Milwaukee Bucks, you have Giannis, but Chris Middleton was a legit number 2. Drew Holiday could have been considered a legit number 2. Bam Adebayo on a really good team, on a great contending team, is your 4th scoring option, not your 2nd and not your 3rd, because Tyler Hero's a better scorer than Bam. Bam is wholly unreliable. His shooting percentage has dropped. When he decided he wanted to be a 3-point shooter, guess what happens? He can't make 2s now. Flat out, Bam Adebayo this year has sucked. And this is the guy you're swearing and you gave a 3-year extension to for $55 million a year while your best player doesn't get paid. It was the same bullshit with Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh when LeBron acted like the fucking punk he was and walked off without telling one of his best friends, I'm leaving. Then Dwyane Wade got screwed money-wise because Pat Riley opened the banks for Chris Bosh. That was a bad mistake because Chris Bosh then unfortunately had blood clots and basically his career was over within a year and a half. Dwyane Wade was not the same player, but Dwyane Wade had done so much for your franchise and you let this man go to Chicago. And then he goes to Cleveland and you bring him back. But you lost a year and a half of this guy. It's one after the other after the other. And it happened with Shaq, too, where Shaq wanted to whoop Pat Riley's ass years ago because Pat Riley thinks he can talk to people however the fuck he feels. Guess what? You're going to lose. I'm a season ticket holder of the Miami Heat. I don't want my tickets anymore because I'm sick of watching the same shit every year. They're expensive as hell, and you see the same garbage. Yes, there are injuries. We made a trade. We got rid of Kyle Lowry. We get Terry Rozier. Been an utter disaster. Disastrous trade. If you had a problem with Kyle Lowry, you absolutely should have a problem with Terry Rozier because he's been a shell of what he was with Charlotte. Why? Because Charlotte sucks. So while he may look great, that team is awful. Rozier's a decent player. They're finally bringing him up the bench, which I think is the better thing with him. But this all goes back to Pat Riley, man. You can blame Jimmy Butler. You can call Jimmy Butler a diva. And yeah, Jimmy Butler is kind of becoming a bit of a diva. No question about it. He clowns around. He does stuff. But when it's business time, Jimmy Butler don't play. Jimmy Butler comes to ball. Jimmy Butler's a dog. When Jimmy Butler was balling against the Milwaukee Bucks in those playoffs, Jimmy Butler was arguably the best player in the world. When Jimmy Butler's in the playoffs, he's a different animal. He's a different animal. Yeah, I want him to play more in the regular season. I don't want him to get hurt. Nobody does. But when your fucking president insults you publicly, embarrasses you publicly, it's going to piss you off. And clearly, from what it seems, Jimmy Butler hasn't gotten over that. Why do you think that is? Because Pat Riley does not say sorry to nobody. He don't apologize to shit. He probably doesn't apologize to his own wife. Because at this point in time, it's becoming ridiculous. The same shit happened with Dwyane Wade. It's craziness to me. The same thing with Dwyane Wade. You disrespect these guys. You think they don't have feelings. I know it sounds soft. It's professional sports. But you can't get away with talking to people and treating people the way Pat Riley does. It's a players' league now, man. And Eric Spoelstra is kind of cut from that cloth of Pat Riley. How is Jimmy Butler not playing in the fourth quarter of that game the other day against the Pelicans? How? I watched that fourth quarter. Haywood Highsmith is on the floor with Jimmy Butler. Fuck out of here. I didn't watch the game yesterday against the Pacers because I was watching college football. But like, I don't get it. And people swear by Pat Riley. They think, who the Godfather kissed the ring. Get the hell out of here. It's over. He's almost 80 years old. think he's 77, 78. The dude's damn near 80. It's passed him by. He doesn't make deals. We have no picks. We're cap strung. So you know what? You better not. I don't care if Jimmy Butler wants to be traded right now. I don't care. You, Pat Riley, need to fix that shit. Cut that man his damn check. He earned it with what he's done for this franchise in 5 years. 3 conference championships, conference finals appearances, 2 conference championships, 2 appearances in the NBA finals as a 1 without a 2. Remember, Tyler Hero's also had issues with injuries too when it's mattered. Like that finals against the Nuggets, I mean, we weren't never full strength. You know, it's just become so sad to see what's going on here because Jimmy Butler's a fun-loving guy. He's an ultra competitor. He's a dog. And don't sit here and tell me he can't play at a high level. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear it. They're not giving him the damn ball. His usage was ridiculous. The last 2 games, it was a joke. And I know he's missed some damn games. That's fine. It is what it is. And I get it. Pat Riley said we're not trading Jimmy Butler. And you better stand on that, Pat. You better stand on that and not trade that man. Because who the fuck are you trading him for? You cannot get anything that equates to this man. Nothing. People who think he's long in the tooth and not a good player anymore, you're crazy. The Miami Heat fans who swear by Pat Riley make me sick. They make me sick. They're the same guys that swore by him when LeBron left. The same guys that swore by him when Shaq left. Same guys that swore by him when Dwyane Wade left. It was always the players' fault. Always the players' fault. And yes, like I said, a lot of these players are divas. They're sensitive, they're high-level players, and they expect to be treated a little bit differently than the typical average mediocre basketball player. They're stars in the league. Jimmy Butler's a star in this league, whether you like it or not. He's a great, great player. And while he might not be a top 5 guy right now, when it's game time and he's healthy in the playoffs, he's a top 5 level dude. Bam Adebayo is not. And I'm not trying to shit on Bam Adebayo, but I'm sick of watching Bam Adebayo suck. I'm sick of it when Bam Adebayo has to take. We need Bam Adebayo to be the man. He won't do it. The fact that he's only averaging like 17 points a game right now is utterly ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, folks, this dude is averaging 16.5 points per game. His rebounds are down. His shooting percentage is down. Everything is down since he decided he wanted to be a three-point shooter. Credit Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero looks fantastic. He looks fantastic. But Miami still needs a guy next to Jimmy Butler. I don't think it's Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero has to be that right now. But he's not that guy. He's not. You got to get a real bona fide dude next to Jimmy Butler. And we've been asking for it. You can't, and you wouldn't trade Bam to do it. You're too fucking stubborn, Pat Riley. And that's the problem with this franchise. You have a stubborn ass president GM who runs the franchise and has been stubborn for so long. And I mean, at times, the fact that Kel'el Ware has played so little for most of the season, it's crazy. Why'd you draft him? If you're not going to play this kid, it's craziness to me. So, in my opinion, I don't trade Jimmy Butler. I know it's too ahead. You give Jimmy Butler the ball and you make him fucking happy. You apologize to him. You man up and say, yo, my behavior was inappropriate. I shouldn't have said that. I should have come to you privately and had a conversation with you. I should never have made it. And it's funny because when all these guys have these problems privately, they never announce them. Never. End of the day, I'd rather lose Jimmy Butler at the end of the year for nothing than give him away for bullshit. I would rather lose Jimmy Butler in the offseason as a free agent than trade him for spare parts. It's just that simple. Trading him for a pick that will never play because the Miami Heat don't play first-round picks, not for quite some time. As you see, Kel'el Ware averages 10 minutes a game. It's not worth it. I'd rather have him out here. I don't care if he's unhappy. One thing I know from Jimmy Butler is he's not going to not play hard. If you give him the ball, he's not going to not play hard. It's just in his DNA. He's a dog. He's not gonna quit on his teammates. That will never happen. His issue is not probably with his teammates. It's with the management at this point. It's with Riley. It might even be with Spoelstra a little bit, but it's definitely with Riley. It's not with his teammates. But at the same time, you've got to dump one of those teammates, and that teammate is Bam Adebayo. You have to trade him. If you want to keep, if Jimmy Butler is to get some real help, the trade is Bam Adebayo. It's not Jimmy Butler. It's not. If the Miami Heat are relying on Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero to be the cornerstones of this franchise for the next 5 years, the Miami Heat is going to suck. It's just that simple. The Miami Heat is going to suck. They're almost unwatchable right now because they're so inconsistent. They're so ungodly inconsistent. This is a team that led the Orlando Magic a couple of weeks ago by 22 points going into the fourth quarter and got outscored 37-8. And the Magic are missing 3 starters. That's disgraceful. It makes no sense. And I can't believe I'm going to go here as well. Maybe it's time for Eric Spoelstra to go as well. But Pat Riley, it's over for Pat Riley. Mickey Arison has to make a decision because this franchise does not have an upward trajectory right now. It has a downward trajectory. You cannot keep trying to mask stuff with makeup and paint the face of a pig and call it a model. You can't keep trying to do that. I'm a big fan of Duncan Robinson. I'm not a fan of Haywood Highsmith. I think resigning him was stupid. Bringing in, you brought back Kevin Love and he doesn't play. Jaime Jaquez has massively regressed this year. Why is that? At what point do you start questioning what's being done within the franchise? No, let's blame Jimmy Butler. Let's call Jimmy Butler a diva. Let's say it's his fault. No, it's not his fault. Does he have some ownership of responsibility for his health? I guess. But Jimmy Butler didn't insult his owner or his general manager or his president. His president insulted him publicly. So while you might say Jimmy Butler should be traded, no, you don't trade him. In fact, what Mickey Arison should be doing is he should be paying Jimmy Butler and telling Pat Riley it's time to pack your shit. End of the year, you're gonna resign. And you people can call me crazy all you want. You Heat fans, I'm a Heat fan too. You guys live by this Pat Riley code of bullshit. You live by this Pat Riley code of garbage, man. They're not kissing his rings anymore. He can't toss his rings on the table anymore and say, come play for me. It don't work that way. The Miami Heat should have won 2 championships in the last 5 years. And the reason they did not win those championships, one, is because Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo got hurt against the Lakers. I stand by that. But they didn't beat the Denver Nuggets because they didn't have the weapons to do it. They didn't have the size to do it. They got punked because they were too small. They're too small because you won't get a real fucking big. Begging for a big for quite some time. Begging to move Bam to play the 4 and have a real center who plays 30, 35 minutes a game. No, you keep Bam as a center. And he's been exposed. He's been exposed. And he's not getting better. He's getting worse. He is who he is. Bam will never be a number 1 option. He will never be a legit number 2 option. He's barely a 3rd option. He's barely a 3rd option. Offensively. I'm not talking about defense. Offensively. What is Miami's biggest problem for years? They can't score. But it's a wrap. I'm so sick of hearing about how Jimmy Butler is the problem from people. It is Pat Riley. Figure it out. Pat Riley is the one that has to go. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't done so, of course, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, ring that bell, leave a comment. This is Rudy's Rant. We talk facts over feelings, powered by Coming On the Podcast. Come on now.